Star-Spangled Sunday. Our flag is still there.
We're here in Francis Scott Key Park in Georgetown, which is a part of Washington, D.C. To school children, 100 years ago, Francis Scott Key was known as a poet, a patriot, and as a Christian. Today, few would even know that he wrote our national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. He was well known as a committed follower of Christ and even considered becoming a minister of the gospel after the War of 1812. Frank, as he was known by his family, married Mary Taylor Lloyd, better known as Polly, in 1802, and together they had 11 children, 6 boys and 5 girls. They had a robust devotional life. He led his family in Bible study and prayer twice daily. In addition, he was a poet and wrote a number of poems and songs that reveal his love for the Lord. One written in 1832 was titled, "Before the Lord We Bow." So one of the forgotten facts about Francis Scott Key is his deep Christian faith. Even though Francis Scott Key was a strong Christian, he was a reluctant patriot at the beginning of the War of 1812. He was a member of the opposition party to that of President Madison, and his faith led him to oppose Mr. Madison's war. Since the British had been taking men off our merchant ships at sea and impressing them into their navy, the president decided to take British land from Canada. Yet it was Francis Scott Key who was called upon to negotiate with the British for the release of Dr. William Beanes, who was a prisoner on a British warship bound for Baltimore. From that ship, Francis Scott Key would watch the entire battle for Baltimore unfold. Just before noon on Sunday, September the 11th, the alarm guns sounded the approach of the British ships. General Smith was in his pew at the First Presbyterian Church, which was promptly dismissed. On Monday, September the 12th, over 4,000 Redcoats under the command of General Robert Ross disembarked at North Point and began marching west toward Baltimore's eastern or right flank. General Ross was so confident that he remarked to his colleagues during breakfast at a Maryland farmhouse, "I'll sup in Baltimore or in hell." Well, as the British advanced, the American commander, General John Stryker, realized he was outnumbered and outmatched, so he took a novel approach. He attacked. During the first engagement, an American sniper leveled his musket at General Ross while on horseback. True to its mark, the bullet tore into the general's side, leaving him mortally wounded. As a hazy dawn broke on September 13, British warships and gunboats unleashed their artillery on Fort McHenry. The bombs were 190 to 200-pound cast iron monsters filled with gunpowder, bursting in air over the fort, showering hot shrapnel onto our soldiers. But Colonel Arthur Brooke was no General Robert Ross. General Stryker frustrated the British advance. Taking heavy casualties, Brooke soon realized he would never take Baltimore with a land assault. So all the focus was on Fort McHenry. The non-stop bombing continued all afternoon through the evening and into the night. The cast iron bombs scorched through the air and exploded. The Congreve rockets screamed through the sky with a red tail before detonating. Yet Major Armistead's men couldn't respond because the British warships and gunboats were out of our range. The relentless frontal assault by the war fleet on Fort McHenry went on for what seemed to be an eternity. God's providence was also evident during the battle for Baltimore. Once again, the weather played a major role. Heavy rain fell during the bombardment of the fort. In fact, it was raining so hard that it snuffed out some of the fuses of the bombs launched by the British, and they harmlessly sunk into the soft mud around the fort instead of exploding. Even more remarkable was that one of these 200-pound bombs crashed through the roof here of the powder magazine where all the gunpowder was stored in the fort. But here's the miracle. It failed to detonate. If it had exploded, that one bomb alone would have ignited all the gunpowder here, destroying our defenses and wiping out many of our soldiers. Francis Scott Key climbed up on deck and leaned against the railing, looking and searching for our flag. For 25 hours straight, they unleashed over 1,500 pieces of artillery, with 400 of them finding their mark in what for Major Armistead and the men in that fort must have seemed like a preview of the torments of hell itself. Then it happened. About 5 o'clock in the morning of September the 14th, the bombing stopped. In the eerie silence, Key and his companions feared the worst. Inside the fort, Major Armistead had ordered that tattered storm flag be retired, which means taken down. Again, out on the ship, not seeing that flag, Key must have feared the worst. He must have worried that what he might see next was the white flag of surrender. But through the fog and smoke and mist, Key began to make out the red, the white, and the blue. There proudly, high above the ramparts, said one British sailor, there flew a most superb ensign. You see, Major Armistead had ordered the huge 30 by 42 foot garrison flag to be hoisted. Key came back with the report, our flag is still there. Our flag is still there. Our flag is still there.
Star-Spangled Sunday. Our flag is still there.